I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. There's another paid request, this time for Anthony. And as I'm doing this, I'm just preparing for the next of the rolling outages that's happening with Texas, because we're going through all this stuff where sometimes we get power, sometimes we don't. But at least with the computer, there'll be at least some battery power for a bit, so I can at least finish the video. I'll just keep recording. But maybe if there's a flicker or something in one of these videos, you'll know why. If you don't know what's going on, feel free to look up on Google in Texas. But anyway, this is a paid request, Anthony. If anyone wants to request any other type of videos, feel free. You can send it via PayPal or Patreon. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Both things are down below in the info box. But this is for a review of Gymkata, a 1985 film, which, funny enough, seems like a film that Canon Films would have made, but they did not. This was MGM. And weirdly enough, Robert Klaus, the director of Enter the Dragon, did this, as well as Fred Weintraub, the producer of Enter the Dragon. And apparently what these guys wanted was another like Hong Kong type of success story where, oh, there's people like Jackie Chan and stuff. Let's have people that move like him. How do we do that? Something new, a gimmick. Oh, let's get Kurt Thomas, the Olympic gymnast, and make him a star in an action film. And he fights people by using his gymnastics. Gymkata. Now, sadly, Kurt Thomas has passed away very recently. That's sad. Granted, I don't care for him in the movie. But, to be honest, acting was not his forte. He was in here because he could do gymnastics, and he does them fairly well. And while this movie is not a good movie, it's entertaining, it's funny, at times unintentionally so. I mean, the fucking tagline, the skill of gymnastics, the kill of karate, Gymkata. So, and the plot of this is pretty ridiculous. Now, okay. Richard Norton, who I've seen a lot of stuff. He was in Mr. Nice Guys, the bad guy, Jackie Chan film. He worked with Cynthia Rothrock quite a bit. He's in this underrated action film called Under the Gun. He plays our villain here. And part of this they made up a foreign country. Parmistan. And they play this game called The Game, which is an endurance race with obstacles, and also they hunt people. And if a person wins, then they're granted one wish. They survive and they're granted one wish. So the government wants to go in there and win the game. So he can use his one wish to install a U.S. satellite monitoring station for the Star Wars program. And in fact, this could monitor all satellites and act as an early warning system in case of a nuclear attack. So again, we have a guy who is known for gymnastics, hired by, I think it's called the SIA, to go in this made-up country to play the game and win. That sounds like fucking Twisted Metal. Like you win and you get the ultimate wish, and the wish is let them make it so we can install a satellite monitoring station here. Just something about that is ridiculous, but it's kind of funny as well. Other people recognize Tadashi Yamashita. He was the bad guy in the Octagon. He was also the bad guy in the first American Ninja film. He's one of the trainers for our lead guy. And the director really wanted to show off his gymnastics. Even when our hero is talking to a girl, he'll do these backflips while he's talking to the princess. He'll pretend to have a conversation, will backflip and he's facing away from her, then backflip again and talk to her, his way of flirting. And the movie is definitely goofy, but it's fun. Like, he's fighting guys, flipping off the wall. He's fighting guys using the gymnastics. He gets on a rail. Not a rail, but there's a bar. He gets in and he keeps flipping over and over and hitting people. All the bad guys just keep coming his way, and he flips and hits and tips them. He gets on the pole, he's flipping around, tits them, goes around, tits them, just back and forth. All the bad guys just have to wander to his vicinity. If they stand 10 feet away and shoot him, it'd be fine. But gotta keep walking to where he is, where he's on the bar, flipping, just kick him in the face. There's a scene later on where he's on one of those pommel horses, and he's doing the thing, and he's good at gymnastics. I mean, Olympics and all. And it's fun, it's different. This is a very different kind of movie. It's a unique movie. I appreciate that. Because there's a portion of this film that feels like a horror movie all of a sudden, which is interesting. I didn't expect that. Richard Norton did an interview with Scott Adkins on his channel, The Art of Action. And Richard Norton talked about this film. And he said one of the issues was, Kurt Thomas was a nice guy, but if Robert Clausen then wanted to have Jackie Chan type of agility, I think that's why Robert Clausen then brought stuff like that up. They wanted someone who was agile, and they thought they could create one. Well, an Olympic gymnast is agile. We'll put that on screen. And people think, wow, that's so new and different. And new and different can work. Steven Seagal, his early work, Aikido was so different. People are like, what's this? And they got attracted to it. I did as well. So that idea can work. It wasn't the case here. Because as much as I give shit to Steven Seagal, I think his early work, he's actually good. I do. I actually think he's good. And what type of acting he's supposed to be. The soft-spoken, cool, demeanor, badass. Like, Seagal made it work in those early movies, to be fair. That's one of the reasons I love those early Seagal films. Kurt Thomas is not, he's not an actor. And it's very evident in this. But Richard Norton mentions, with people like Jackie Chan and all of them, you can put them anywhere. But with Kurt Thomas, you specifically had to make it work for him. So it's very limiting, and because of those circumstances, things came off a bit sillier. For example, him being on the bar and having to rotate over and over again, and some, like, and just waiting for the bad guys to come in to kick him. Or this village, that again, straight out of almost a horror movie, there just happens to be a pommel horse there. It was very much like one, so he can do his business. And actual fighting, he's not the best at. He's very on it. Until he does his gymnastic flips and such. And, I mean, the plot itself, it goes from, they're walking, him and the princess. Yes, there's a princess. Not Princess Peach or anything, but there's a princess. And all of a sudden a guy gets an arrow to the chest. Every time they're chased and they're going upriver on a boat, and then when they get off, there's a bunch of fucking ninjas. And so our hero does these tumbles and somersaults and backflips. And then taking to play the game. And the funny thing is, in the game, there's really not much for him to do gymnastic-wise in the game. That's kind of a disappointing thing. Like, you get a gymnast, you would think part of the game, the endurance test, but it'd be like all these other tests. Okay, this one, he's got to use his gymnastics in doing this. So maybe this, oh, it's hard to do unless you flip. And by flipping, he'll get over that obstacle. And in this obstacle, doing some other type of gymnastic movement. And by this obstacle, no, it's just running through the woods, climbing up a wall, from a zip line, climbing from one to the other, or moving, just pulling yourself to get from point A to point B. He fights a big guy for a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Like, so really, it was funny. Like, they wanted him, specifically him, to be part of this mission. Because apparently in the film, the character is a gymnast as well. Because you see him doing gymnastic stuff at the very beginning and the very end. So it's like they're actually hiring an Olympic gymnast to do this game. And it's like, well, anybody who's really fit could do this. Why did it have to be an Olympic gymnast? So that was the disappointing part of the game. The surprising part is part of the game is this town of crazy people that apparently the country sends the criminally insane there. And it's like a horror film. It really is like a horror film. And where like a guy cuts his own hand off and arms are coming out of the window as if they're the fucking zombies of Resident Evil. Like when you're in Resident Evil 2, the police station, you're going down the one hallway and the zombie arms just come out of the windows. Dead bodies are stuck to walls. There's a guy he's beating up who has a weird mask because there's a face on the back of the mask. So when he kisses the guy and he's facing the wall, you have this face looking back at him. I think it's like this weird horror film vibe. It's a bit moodier, eerie, like atmosphere. It was welcome, but it was different. And listen, for most of the game, he didn't have to use much of gymnastics. Because again, they're running through fields. Once in a while, bad guys are throwing, spears or shooting arrows. Also, spoiler alert, I gotta go into spoilers to explain this. As he's keeping these crazy people, one of the seeming bad guys are gonna maybe stab him, but helps him up, and you find out it's the lead guy's dad. Which by this point of the plot, I forgot he had a dad. I forgot there's a part of the plot where he doesn't know what happened to his dad, and his dad went missing. I mean, was your dad hiding this whole time, and now this is when he helps? And then literally 2 minutes later, he gets shot with an arrow by Richard Norton. Not even Richard Norton, like another guy. And then has to fight Richard Norton, which is a lame fight because Kurt Thomas can't do much. Like, Richard Norton's a very good martial artist. He had fights with Sammo Hung and Jackie Chan, throughout his career. He had moments where he worked with Chuck Norris. This is a talented martial artist, so he didn't do an awful more, but Kurt Thomas, sadly, he can't do much except the gymnastics stuff. And it's an interesting idea, but I will say that got old rather quickly, and I can see why this didn't become a thing. But the reason I brought that up is the lead guy comes in to the princess. His dad is behind him with a fucking arrow in the back. And then the lead guy gets the girl and they're smiling, freeze frame. Is his dad alive? Or is his dad dead? If his dad's alive, he's there smiling with the princess while his dad is right behind him with that arrow sticking out of his back. If he's dead, you think there'd be a moment where he's sad because his dad that he just found is dead already? Or a moment where you put the body down and you maybe take the fucking arrow out of his back? Also, if he's dead, why did he take the body with him? I guess so that his body would not be buried somewhere? I don't know if the dad is dead or alive. I don't know. I don't know. Because again, if he's dead, his reaction is like, hey, the princess, freeze frame, while his dad is dead and back of him with an arrow in his fucking back. And then the freeze frame and the text showcases, yep, the Star Wars program worked and the satellite got up in the sky. But of course, I like Master and Overdrive, and it had that out of the blue text as well at the beginning and end. But I got more fun out of that entertainment. But this, I did get some. I did get some entertainment out of this. If you watch the trailer, if you look at the idea, it's silly, it's goofy, it's unique. And that's the entertainment factor, is uniqueness. Gymnastics mixed with fighting. Now, granted, it also showcases why that doesn't fucking work. That you just get a gymnastic guy to be your lead. Because rest in peace to Mr. Kirk Thomas. I'm sorry, he did not have a charisma to him. He was not much of an actor. His gymnastics were solid, but there's only a certain bit you could do with that. I guess they did the best they could. Like, give him the pommel horse. He just kicking people. But that went on for so long, I got a little bit bored during it. It's like, it just wouldn't stop. It's like, it's cool for like a minute. But when it goes on what feels like 5 minutes, it gets old a little bit. So, but I mean, it was entertaining. A lot of it was like goofy entertainment. Richard Norton, it's nice to see him in there. Like I said, when it takes a turn, it feels like a horror film. That was a different, unique thing. Change of pace. But yeah, there's a line that's like, it's not over yet, so put your hardware back in your pants. That's the line of dialogue. It's not over yet, so put your hardware back in your pants. It's goofy entertainment. It's not one of my favorites. You probably enjoy it at So Bad It's Good level. Again, there's stuff you go, what? Even during the game, it's like, why don't you utilize more of his gymnastics if that's the point in the first place? But, yeah, it's definitely unique. And I give credit to that. So if you like action films, you want to see them a little bit different, off the beaten path, Gymkata is one to watch. I don't know if it's still up, but I found it on YouTube. I don't know if it's still up, but with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.